Good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to finish our novel for this term, which is A Tale of Two Cities. Okay? Before we explain chapter 16 and 17. Today, inshallah, we are going to finish 18, 19, and 20. Okay, in this chapter, we are going to understand Carton's plan by saving Darnay from death and returning him back to his wife, which he loved a lot, which was Lucy, of course. And we are going to understand also the plan of Madame Defarge against the family. Darnay, in his cell, wrote two letters. Letter for Lucy and letter for Dr. Manette. What did Darnay tell Lucy in his letter? He told her that he didn't know his family, where the cause of her father's imprisonment. Okay? He also told her that it was her father who asked him not to reveal his name. Remember, on the wedding day? Then he asked her to calm her father, Dr. Manette, and not to let him blame himself. Of course, Dr. Manette was blaming himself for this trial for Darnay, but he asked her to calm her father. What did Darnay ask Dr. Manette in his letter, the second letter? He asked the doctor to look after his wife and his daughter after, of course, his death. He hoped that the request would prevent the doctor from suffering again. Okay? That was the letter to Dr. Manette, and that was the letter to Lucy. That was Darnay in his cell. Let's move to Carton. Carton made a deal with Barsad, the spy, remember him? That he wanted to visit Darnay in his jail in order not to tell about his past, his dirty past. So Barsad allowed him to enter the prison with him and not knowing the plan of Carton. What was Carton's plan? Carton's plan was to exchange with himself with Darnay, okay, in order to save him, because he wanted to make Lucy happy, to feel love, to feel rest again. So now Carton is in the prison conciergerie with Darnay. He told him, "I'm the person you least expected to see here." Carton said that to Darnay when he appeared suddenly in front of him in his cell. Okay? How did Carton justify his existence in the prison to Darnay? That he had some power on one of the guards, okay, which allowed him to go in like this. When Darnay asked him, "How did you enter? How did you manage to enter this prison?" He told him that he had some power on one of the guards. Of course, he had some power on Barsad. Okay, how did Carton persuade Darnay to obey him? He asked him to sit and to write something, which he will tell him to write, by telling him that it was a request from Lucy to do what Carton told him. He told him, "Please do as I tell you. Lucy asked me to tell you something. Please sit down and start writing what I'm going to dictate you." So Darnay sat and started to write. At this moment, Carton got the medicine, put in some kind of paper, and he put the medicine in front of Darnay's nose, and then he fell asleep. "Come in. You can come in now." Of course, after Darnay fell asleep, he changed the clothes, okay? He took his trousers, his boots, and everything, and changed the clothes with Darnay. Carton called for Barsad. He was waiting outside, of course, when he was changing his clothes with the prisoner's clothes. He was putting the paper inside Darnay's coat. What is the paper? It was the traveling paper, like a passport, to travel to London. He told Barsad to get help and carry him to the carriage. So Carton asked Barsad to help Darnay to get into the carriage. Where did Carton follow the guard into? He followed him into a large dark room filled with prisoners who had been taken there to have their arms and legs tied. Now Darnay is out and Carton is in. Okay? Chapter 19. As we can see here that in chapter 19, Barsad sent Darnay to the carriage. They were all surprised, astonished by this, and Lucy discovered that it's not Carton, it's her husband, Charles Darnay. And they set off. How did the guards check Dr. Manette's carriage while leaving Paris? One of the guards checked the papers and called each one by his own name. The others walked around the carriage and climbed onto the roof to look at the luggage. The guards checked everything. And the carriage started to leave. Lucy wanted the carriage to go much more faster, but Mr. Lorry told her, we don't want anyone to feel that we are running away, not wanting anyone to get suspicious, to stop them, okay? They wanted to move safely. Lucy said that to Mr. Lorry in the carriage. She was afraid that anyone might discover what had happened in the prison, the exchange of course, and take her husband away. He was asleep next to her in the carriage. What did Mr. Lorry tell Lucy when she wanted the carriage to go more faster on their way out of Paris? He comforted her, be calm, my dear, and told her that if they went any faster, it would look as if they were running away, and the guards might get suspicious. Suspicious means to stop them and check everything again. Now, we said that Mr. Lorry, Dr. Manette, Lucy, Charles Darnay, of course they left Paris, on their way to London. Let's go back to Madame Defarge. Madame Defarge was suspicious about her husband. She wanted to kill each one of them before Mr. Defarge warned any one of them of her plan. So, I can't trust my husband. He might warn them. Of course, who said this? Madame Defarge. To the woodcutter. She knew that her husband is fond of Dr. Manette and feels sorry for him. She was afraid that he might tell the doctor about her plan to destroy the Evremond family. So she had to take the step by her own self to go and kill the family by her own before telling her husband. What did Madame Defarge hide in her dress? She hid a loaded gun and a sharp knife. She was going to Lucy's house to kill her and her daughter. Why her daughter? We said before, because she is the last race in the Evremond family. Why didn't Mr. Lorry take Miss Pross and Jerry? Of course, Miss Pross and Jerry were a load, okay, were load on the carriage. So they told, Mr. Lorry told Miss Pross and Jerry to stay and take another carriage after them. Mr. Lorry believed that the fewer number of passengers in the coach, the faster it will go, and the less time they would spend at the gate while examining the papers out of Paris. So, who was at the house? Miss Pross and Jerry Crunchton. Okay? They were taking the after coach. So, Madame Defarge went there and met Miss Pross, because Jerry went down to get a coach. So, she tried to see Lucy, she tried to see everyone in the house, but she was mad because she didn't see anyone inside the house but Miss Pross. So what happened when Madame Defarge tried to force her way into Lucy's room? Miss Pross held her tightly round the waist and wouldn't let her pass, but Madame Defarge hit her, tore her face, and pulled out the gun. Okay? She was mad. She wanted to reach Lucy and little Lucy, but she was mad by Miss Pross because she stood against her, refusing her to enter any room in the house. Of course, Madame Descartes didn't know that they were away. They started a fight between each other, and finally, Miss Pross managed to take the gun and kill Madame Defarge. Then Miss Pross took her things, went down to the coach to meet Jerry Cruncher. But she couldn't hear a word. She heard nothing because of the bang of the gun. It turned to be death. I think that bang will be the last thing I will ever hear. Miss Pross said that to Jerry Cruncher after she got into the carriage. She asked him several times whether there was any noise in the street, and he nodded. He said, yes, there is, of course, noise in the street. But she couldn't hear. Miss Pross couldn't hear anything. Why? Because the sound of the gun made her deaf. And now, Jerry Cruncher and Miss Pross are also on their way to London. They got away. In chapter 20, we can see that everything has reached the end. John Barsad standing looking at the carriage, holding Carton. The family, the Manette family, reached London. Jerry Cruncher and Miss Pross following them to London. Now we are at the last scene here in the novel. Okay, why was Barsad looking at each cart on its way to the guillotine? He was looking for Carton, as he wanted to make sure that he is killed. After the first and the second cart, he thought that Carton might have betrayed him, but he felt comfortable when he saw him in the third cart. He wanted to make sure that Carton, who knew everything about his past, is over. Now, now in question number 2, she has never missed an execution. Here, a woman in front of the guillotine answered the vengeance when she was calling aloud for Madame Defarge to watch the execution of Evrémonde. She said, why was she late? Okay, she has never missed an execution, and it was the execution of her day. I think you have been sent to me by heaven. Okay, these words were said by the girl to Carton. Carton was holding her hand during their last hours, was trying to calm this girl, to make her face her destiny peacefully. To meet her destiny peacefully. And question number 4, it has been said that Carton was the most peaceful face that has ever been sent at the guillotine, because Carton was so happy to sacrifice his worthless life for the only person he ever loved, which was, of course, Lucy. And he was executed, and we reached now the end of our chapters. Thank you so much for listening, and see you inshallah next time.